Good morning, dear students. Today I want to share the guide that I told you in the email. This is a guide about basic verb tenses you have covered in Module A. So let's start. The objective of this guide is to contrast and review the basic verb tenses you have studied in Module A of the electronic book of Pearson. The only material you will need is this guide and the links you will find at the end of this guide. The present simple and the present continuous are important tenses, as well as the past simple and the present perfect simple. I want to contrast the present simple and the present continuous. Let's begin with the present simple. We use it, as you already know, guys, to talk about routines, habits, permanent activities, and future scheduled events. Here we have the examples in affirmative, negative, and questions. As you already have studied, we add s, es, and ies for the affirmative form, for the third person, he, she, it. The affirmative form has the following examples. I, you, we, they get up at 6 a.m. We leave the verb in the base form. We don't change it for these persons. For he, she, it, we add s in this case. He, she, it gets up at 7 a.m. But in this example it's different. Louis watches TV at night. Why do we add es? Because there are verbs which finish in ch, sh, s, or x, and to these verbs we add es, as well as the verbs like do and go. Car studies in France, you know, the verb study finishes in y, preceded by a consonant. In this case, we change the y to I and add es. The last example is the conference begins in 10 minutes. This is a use of the present simple for future when we talk about scheduled events. What are scheduled events? Scheduled events are activities that have a schedule. For example, a conference, a flight, a class, etc. For the negative form, we use the auxiliaries do, negative don't, does, negative doesn't. For I, we, you, they, use don't, and the base form of the verb. In this case, I, you, we, they don't surf the internet at 6 a.m. Remember, the verb doesn't change because we have the auxiliary. In the negative form, in the third person, he, she, it doesn't surf the internet at 7 a.m. And the same as for the other persons, that we don't change the base form of the verb. We just change the auxiliary. And for the interrogative form, we use the auxiliary do for I, we, you, they. Go to school at 6 a.m. We don't change the verb. We leave it in the base form. For he, she, it, we use does and the base form of the verb. Does he, she, it go to school at 7 a.m.? These questions are answered in a short form. Yes, they do. No, they don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, he does. No, he doesn't, etc. There are knowledge questions. That the only difference is that we add the knowledge question before the auxiliary. Now the present continuous. The present continuous is used to talk about ongoing actions or actions that are happening at the moment, as well as temporary actions. Temporary actions are the opposite of permanent actions. And in the future for arranged events. Arranged events are activities that we plan beforehand with a specific time, a specific moment, and sometimes it involves another person when we have agreed to do something in the future. And here is an aclaratory note. When we talk about the present continuous, we use the verb to be, and we add ing to the base form of the verb. In the affirmative form, we have these examples. I'm reading a good book, the verb to be, plus ing, ein, and the verb with ing. For he, she, it, is, the contraction, s, plus the verb and the verb plus ing. He, she, it, it's playing baseball now. We, you, they are traveling to Mexico next weekend. This is a different example. We have the verb to be plus the verb plus ing, but the complement is different. Next weekend, that means that we are talking about a scheduled, a planned event that will take place in the future, not at present. The negative form is very simple. We just change the affirmative verb be by negative. I'm not. He, she, it, is. Now here it is isn't. And we, you, they, are. We change it by aren't. I'm not reading a good book. He, she, it, isn't playing tennis now. We, you, they, aren't traveling to Paris next weekend. And for questions, of course, we begin with the auxiliary. Am I reading a good book? Is he, she, it playing tennis now? And are we, you, they traveling to Mexico next weekend? The same as with the present simple, we use short answers in this case. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Yes, she is. No, she isn't. Yes, they are. No, they aren't. And for the knowledge questions, we put the knowledge question before the auxiliary. These are some time expressions used in the present simple and the present continuous. For the present simple, we have every day, every week, every month, once, twice, 3 times, a day, a week, a month, on, for days of the week, and as well for the weekends, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, but attention, we use at 7 a.m., night, and at the weekend. We don't say in the night, we say at night. And for the present continuous, expression like at the moment, these days, this week, this month, and now. Okay, this is present simple versus present continuous now. Let's go to the present perfect simple versus past simple. Let's begin with the present perfect simple. The present perfect simple has 2 different uses. The first one is to talk about actions or states at a definite time in the past. That happened in the past, but we don't know exactly when they happened, and we don't want to express when they happened. And as well for actions or states that began in the past and continue up to the present. Here, a declaratory note about the auxiliaries, we use have for he, for I, we, you, they, and has for he, she, it, plus the past participle of the verb. The affirmative form. For the affirmative form, as I mentioned before, we use the auxiliary have and the past participle. I, you, we, they have, and the past participle of the verb, in this case won a lot of prizes. For he, she, it, has, and the past participle, in this case is a regular verb, live, and past participle lived. He, she, it, has lived here for 10 years. Remember that we have regular verbs that for which we add ed to the base form, and irregular verbs that change in the present and the past and the past participle. Sometimes they are the same, sometimes they are different, the present and the past, sometimes they are different, the 3 forms. And the contraction here, we've worked in Colombia since 1998, he's been sick, and the contractions. Is the contraction of have, is the contraction of has. Negative form, we just change the auxiliary have by haven't and has by hasn't. I, we, you, they haven't won many prizes. He, she, hasn't lived here for 10 years. Now for questions, as usual, we begin with the auxiliary have, I, we, you, they, and the past participle won many tournaments, has, he, she, it, and the past participle of the verb lived here for 10 years. The answers should be short answers, yes, I have, no, I haven't. Yes, they have, no, they haven't. Yes, he has, no, he hasn't. Yes, she has, no, she hasn't. Remember, the English questions are preceding the auxiliary. So we put the English question and then the auxiliary. The past simple is different. In the past simple, we have actions that happened at a specific time, at a definite time in the past. And of course, there are also actions that describe events in chronological order. We add ed to the regular verbs in the affirmative. Only to the regular verbs, no? Here we have an example. You arrived at 3 p.m. yesterday. Here is an example with an irregular verb, the verb come. She came to class this morning. Now for the negative form, we use the auxiliary did. Negative, didn't. You didn't arrive at 3 p.m. yesterday. The same that happened in the present simple here, we use the auxiliary and the base form of the verb. We don't change the verb here. We keep it in the base form. Now another example with the third person, Susan didn't come to class this morning. The auxiliary is the same for all persons, I, we, you, they, he, she, it. We keep the same auxiliary and the base form of the verb. Doesn't matter if it is regular or irregular. And for questions, we have the auxiliary. Did you arrive home at 2 p.m. yesterday? The auxiliary and the base form of the verb. Did Susan come to class this morning? The same. We use the auxiliary and the base form of the verb. We have time expressions and signal words using the present perfect simple and the past simple. In the present perfect simple, already, yet, just are typical signal words, and time expression like for and since. For to express a period of time, and since the moment when the action started. In the simple past, we use last, in, and ago. We have some tasks that I think you should do, guys, to reinforce what you have studied here. You can just read the tasks. There are some links. Just click on the link, then check. And this is the first activity. And here we have the second one, to practice the present perfect simple versus past simple. You click and then check on these links. And finally, if you still have questions, doubts about the topic you have studied, write down some questions and you can ask them at the next tutorial session. Hey guys, that's all. I'll see you soon at the tutorial sessions. They are almost ready. Everything is almost ready. So I'll see you soon. We will keep in touch. This guide, remember, is attached in this email. Have a great day. Have a great week. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.